I lost my earbud.
Oh, no, come back.
Where did it go?
Come back. Oh,
It's like
good
Paw
luck.
Patrol.
Can I be on the floor trying to find this thing? Can you hear me?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, good.
I hear you, yeah. In Paw Patrol,
Paw
like
Patrol,
the movies.
Paw Patrol,
Paw
whenever
Patrol,
you're
be
in
there
trouble.
on the double.
Yep.
Yeah, whenever you're in trouble.
Chase, Marley, I don't know, all their
Yes.
names. It's
But
been a
there's
while.
like Mayor Humdinger
Yes.
is like a cat person,
Yes.
right? And so he goes to Adventure City to become the mayor, and now dogs are banned, and he's kidnapping all the dogs.
Well, I have stepped away from Paw Patrol for a hot minute. These plots are
Yes.
advancing.
It's the second movie. They are kidnapping all of the dogs because he's a cat person, and so he wants to get all the dogs out of the city, off the street.
Are the writers of Paw Patrol in the allegory business and trying to warn us about November? What the hell? Hi, welcome to Pushing Past Polite, where we talk about what matters and make the world more just. I'm Laura.
I'm Corey, and we're so glad to be together.
Yes. I mean, don't worry about our friendship. We have certainly still seen each other and connected and talked over these last few months, but there's just not been time to record, y'all.
No.
Life is moving.
Life is moving.
A million WTFs per second.
School
Yes.
life is like a whole thing. The activities. I've been to more birthday parties between July. I got one tonight.
Yeah. Now
Like
you have a new line item in your budget called birthday parties,
Birthday
both for
parties
your
and
child
gifts.
and for other childs.
Oh my gosh, I have to other childs.
Chillins.
I got to go get the child's the gifts today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
yeah.
Can I tell you something that I started doing? Now, again, your boys are still little, that they have little friends who like something to open. My kids are medium age here where they're digging gift cards.
Yeah.
I just buy a stack of gift cards at one time and keep them in my house.
That's
because
genius.
inevitably somebody will bring home an invitation or it'll get found in the bottom of the backpack. And it's like, it's this Saturday or it's today.
Yeah.
Can we go?
Yeah. Yes.
Get you
Yes.
a card. Get you
That's
a card.
That's what I need to do. I keep just blank cards. So
Yep.
if I need to just like do a quick happy birthday note,
Yep.
throw some stickers on it or something
Smart.
to make it festive. But I like this idea of gift cards because I think even with all the giving we do for our staff, like the teachers and
Yes.
and friends and like giving gift
Somebody had
cards
a
is
rough
easy
day.
thing.
You found out your
Yeah.
teacher was out sick for the weekend. Bam, grab a card.
Yeah, grab a card.
I also buy generic, to your point, like sort of blank cards, but not like occasion blank cards. So I have a whole box of kid-themed birthday cards. I have
That's
a whole
great.
box of sympathy. I have a whole box of birthday adult.
Yeah. Okay, I need to get there.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe you could do that for me.
I'd be happy to.
Let's set a budget, and I think we should lean it. Yeah, let's do that. Thanks,
Ship
Laura.
to your house. I'm on it. I'm on it.
Ship to your house. Life services at my fingertips.
God, we have so much to talk about. Okay, so let's just kind of do like a time machine, like a way back time machine to the last time we talked. If you
Wanna go
recall,
back.
think about how far we've got. Like we were still talking in summer, before summer, and Joe Biden was still the candidate,
Right.
right? Like, hello, a lot has happened.
Yeah.
Don't think we'd had an assassination attempt yet. Maybe one, certainly not two.
Yeah. Did we have to actually for real?
Who knows if we have?
Okay. Who knows?
I don't know.
Feel like there's so little information about it that like
Yep. Okay.
Right?
This is pre-Hurricane Helene, which has now happened, and certainly other hurricanes and storms that
Even
don't get as much attention.
pre both of our vacations.
Pre-beginning of school, so all of that. Yeah, that's just a little in a nutshell. Like we have to almost like
we've had how
fast
many
forward.
birthdays in our homes
plenty
since right? It's like
and some
the
coming too.
girls. Yep, the girls. Jay had a birthday,
It's a lot.
so like we've aged up people in our
leveled
homes.
up.
We leveled up.
We've done well visits. We've done
We've
all
done
the
well
things.
visits. Yeah.
Yeah. So just an acknowledgement that we've been gone for a hot second, and we're probably going to pepper in these pieces as we go.
Yeah.
But some of this is just like a catch-up episode because so much has happened.
So much.
And
has
can I
happened.
also point out something else I noticed this morning on social media?
What's that?
Eminem is a grandfather. Like Eminem's child is having a child.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No. How old are
Oh.
we? How old are we that
we're that old.
Eminem is a grandfather?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I guess if you're 20 when you have a kid and then your kid's 20 when they have a kid, you're 40 and a grandparent, but wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
That kind of blew my mind.
I mean, Snoop Dogg is a grandfather several times over.
Yeah, but I don't see him as a peer. He was a cool look up to adult when I was a kid.
I mean, but he's like your husband's age.
Oh God. I'm married.
I'm just saying, like
Is that
it
true? Is he really? Is
yeah,
Snoop in
he's
his
like
early 50s?
yeah, he's not that old.
He's lived a life.
Mhm.
My fresh faced baby husband has not lived a life like that man has probably lived a life, but so noted. Um,
Snoop Dogg is 52.
Damn, they are peers.
I told you.
You're absolutely right. Oh,
Yeah.
well.
So so that's what I'm saying. I'm not like that surprised by
Same.
Eminem is
No.
51.
What?
Yes. He and Snoop are like the same.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I misjudged all of this.
Yeah. He's like a decade ahead of us.
Thank God. Let's keep him there.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that makes it feel a little different, right? Being
Yeah.
51 and a grandfather as opposed to being 45, 42 and a grandfather.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I feel better.
You're welcome.
I'm not missing anything. I'm
You're
just where I'm
not.
meant to be in the universe.
Yes.
We're all good.
Yes. We're all good.
Okay. What's new with you?
What's new with me? We've been just like on a running cycle.
Mhm.
And I mean, what? I came back from vacation and the following week I did 3 6-hour full day trainings
Wow.
the following week. And then 2 weeks later I did another set of trainings. We've launched a course that I'm facilitating with the National School Climate Center, and that started on Tuesday night. I have been out of my house almost every night this week, and for me that is like a struggle.
Big deal.
Big deal. And so like getting home at 7 or 8 or finishing like my day at 7 or 8 in the evening is, not my jam. But that's
Need some
been like
recovery time. Oof.
yesterday I was a zombie in the morning and I had to just like Daniel was like, "Do you need to go lay down?" Yeah,
Yes,
I do. I just like lay down for just like 10 minutes. And then we have another thing tonight and then another thing tomorrow night.
Are these school related? Are these life and
So yeah,
family?
some of it, yeah. So it's like I was teaching on Tuesday. That was the first class. The other days were school related events. And then tonight is a birthday gathering for one of my son's friends, their little crew of boys that we hang with. Tomorrow there's an event. I don't know if I'm going or not. I think Daniel's going. I don't know. I think Daniel's going. So it's going to be like a special night with me and the boys kind of
Mhm.
thing. So I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do. My parents are in town. We're just like, we've just been, oh my gosh, this is going to be like the silliest, but like one of the
I'm
best
ready.
pieces of news. I got my housekeeper, my cleaning woman back.
Oh, when you say back, what happened?
Well,
Is it that she didn't come when you moved to this house because it was service area?
no, she comes this far. She came a couple of times when I first moved here, but it was just like our schedules weren't matching up.
Hmm.
Jay was still very small. And so he was sleeping a
Napping.
lot more and
Yeah.
napping and so she would start her work and then I would be like, "Ugh, can he not vacuum up here? Because I need it with the baby down kind of thing." And then I was also kind of doing some traveling. And so I kept having to cancel on her. And I didn't like doing that because this is her livelihood. And so if she needed to create the space in her schedule for somebody else, I wanted to give her the opportunity to
Yep.
do that. Right. And so she did. And so then I just like over these last, I think 2 years,
Mhm.
I've like just periodically sent her a message like,
You
"Hey,
say,
do you
"Baby,
have
come back.
any?" Right. Basically.
Any
And
kind
so
of
she
fool
finally
could
did.
see."
She came on Monday and it feels so great. It's like
Oh, that's
her kids
wonderful.
are older. Her son has graduated from college. Her daughter's now in middle school. Um, she has a helper, so she's not doing it all by herself. And she is just excellent.
Oh, and that's so nice. That's such a gift to yourself.
It really
And you don't
is.
have a baby upstairs napping because they're at school.
Because they're all in school. Yeah. So that's another big thing. And Jay was crying every day for the first almost 3 weeks. And now
That's
he's
hard.
good. He jumps out and he's happy, and G is happy, and like they're good.
I'm so glad to hear that, by the way. I know we had been talking about it and like, is this too much for him? Are we pushing too fast? When you're in that middle of the transition, it's hard to know. Do we push forward? Do we pull back? You did the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You should see how just he's developed. Like his communication is off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
Nessa came and visited, and she was like, I just saw him 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm. And
And
it's a
he
totally different world.
totally different
How
world.
wonderful.
Totally different world. He has all these associations. You know, my parents are here, so he's like, "Do you love your mom and your dad? Those are your parents. You are my parent.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
my brother."
We did a unit on families, and I
Yes.
have all kinds of new
Exactly. And I have
vocabulary
all
to
this
label
vocabulary.
my life. That's
Mhm.
precious.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm so proud.
Mhm.
You did great.
It's pretty great. It's pretty sweet
Oh,
to
it's
just
wonderful.
observe, and he's proud and excited.
Yeah,
So,
it's like a rocket ship, man. Once
mhm.
they get around other peers and have responsibilities and a place to be, it
Mm,
is
yeah.
lights on all over the
Uh-huh.
place. Oh,
And G
I
just
love
started
it.
getting a little sheet of homework each night.
Mhm.
And so now he's like, okay, I'm ready to do my homework now. You know, he's every day, and Mamacita will help him with his homework.
So cute.
And it's
That's a
really
little early
good.
for homework. Sorry, side note.
It's just like
As
one
long as
sheet.
he doesn't mind it. As
Yeah.
long as he's excited about it, just a heads up.
And it's literally reinforcing. Like I was way behind. I didn't realize that that's what it was, right? They're like, "Oh, we're sending some work home." I didn't realize what it actually was. So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
One day. When I
Mhm.
have time.
And
Never.
yeah, never. And then in my group chat with the other moms that I talk with, they were like, "Yeah, they started sending home homework." I was like, "That's what those blank sheets are?"
Can you help me with Pythagorean theorem? You're like, "Oh
I
shit, what have
oh,
we
snap,
missed?
Lord.
What have we missed?"
Mhm,
Good.
mhm.
As
So
long as it's
now
something he takes joy in and it's part of
yes,
his routine, that sounds great.
and it's reinforcing, like, his day. So, like, I was trying to get him to work on the L sheet, and he was like, "We didn't do L's today, we did F's. So I'll
Get
do
the
the
F
F
out of
one."
here with your
Yeah, get that out of here
L's.
with your L's, okay? Get the F in here. Get that F in
You need to
here
take that L and leave and
and
bring that
leave.
F front and center. Because I know what an F and L sound like. So
Yeah,
cute.
so
So, so,
cute.
so cute.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, one of my kids started playing recorder. I will not name which child. And of course, they play Hot Cross Buns. Remember that song?
Yes.
Hot
Pretty little
Cross Buns, Hot Cross. Okay.
mhm,
So this child was eating dinner the other night and humming Hot Cross Buns.
mhm.
And when it do 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 hot cross, she ripped a fart on the word buns.
Of course she did.
So
So we know
loud.
which child it is.
Okay, fine, I gave it away. She
Yeah,
ripped a fart on the
yeah,
word buns.
and
We
fell out
laughed.
laughing, didn't yeah,
Oh my God. I said,
yeah,
"Did you plan that?" She goes, "I knew it was coming, but I didn't know it
yeah.
was going to come on
The
that
timing would
word."
be so good. Come
And
on.
then we had street corn tacos that night, and street corn tacos came out of
Ooh.
her face all over me. It was, we were laughing so
Like, so
hard. I didn't care. It was amazing. It was
yeah,
amazing. I have a
epic.
great recipe for street corn tacos if you want them.
Great. Yes, I do.
Street corn chicken tacos. Sorry to
Great.
clarify.
Let's
There's some
do it.
protein there. On it, on it, on it.
Mhm, mhm.
I also had a challenging new parenting experience, and I'm not trying to center us or ourselves in this story because it was much more traumatic for another family. But one of my baby's best friends experienced traumatic brain injury, and it was really
Mhm.
touch and go there for a little while, for a couple of days. When I first found out, I'm like, do I even tell her? I need information
Yeah,
because she's going to have
yeah.
questions.
A lot of questions.
And I am amazed, but here we are, probably about a month out, and this little girl just returned to school, and she is herself. The
Oh.
mom brought lunch for the two of them, for my baby and her baby, and they had lunch
Oh.
together in a quiet room because she's still recovering from her
Yeah,
concussion.
yeah.
Incredible. Just the sweetest. She's coming tonight for a
Awesome.
sleepover. It is to go
Oh.
from like, I don't know how to talk about this really difficult thing with my child to let's celebrate your friend is
Right.
back was just quite the journey.
And just like I learned a huge learning journey, right? Of navigating that,
Yes.
supporting your child through their emotions and questions and ideas, and
Yes.
supporting that other family
Yes.
through that very, very, very frightening, that had to have been frightening.
Oh my God. I mean, my heart was in my throat and it's not my child, right? I
Yeah.
care about this little girl for sure, but I just can't imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think back to the 1 or 2 little hospital experiences we've had with our kiddos and how scary that felt at the time. And
Yeah.
this is, next level stuff. So,
Yeah, totally.
so happy. So happy to see the girls back together again. It's pretty lovely.
Nice. Super sweet.
Yeah. Eminem. I know I wrote down, I was like, what are things do I want to make sure I talk about? Eminem, hot cross buns, and traumatic brain injury. So if somebody ever finds that sticky note somewhere, you'd be like, what is going on with her?
What? How
Is
do
she
these go
okay?
together? Right? Right. Was there an intervention for this Eminem hot cross buns traumatic brain injury
Yeah,
person?
is she okay?
Is she all right?
okay? We are
Yeah.
worried. We are
Is
worried.
she telling us something? Is there something she wants us to know?
Mm-hmm. What do we want to talk about today? There's so much going on in the world, domestically, abroad. We've got people hurting and suffering in Western North Carolina.
Did you hear that they're up there talking about we gave them a check for $750?
Who is they? FEMA?
That's what the
That's
vice
not gonna-
president said that FEMA gave. And then did you see that FEMA is in a like $8 billion deficit, but that's almost the exact amount of money we approved in arms sales to Israel.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, I'm not one. I want to pause and say I'm not one who's big on this America first, America first, America first stuff, right? So I'm not trying to take that anthem here and say we got problems here, because sometimes it's a both and, right? Sometimes we do need to invest in foreign policy.
But we've sent billions and billions and
billions.
They've gotten billions already.
And it's that money is being used to fund a genocide. Exactly. This is not just like, hey, let's, for the sake of world peacekeeping or for the sake of development in an ally nation, we're going to do this. No, we are literally, there's blood.
And a military offensive.
Yes.
A genocide
in a whole nother country.
In a whole nother sovereign nation.
We're about to start a regional, we're involved, whether our troops are there or not.
We're supplying all the weapons, so we're all over it.
We're writing the fucking checks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're writing the checks. And so
but our people are getting $750 checks.
That's right.
So
that's right. So against that backdrop, I particularly find this offensive.
Yes.
Right? I'm not saying we never invest elsewhere. It's only about our people. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But to know this against this backdrop, this juxtaposition,
it's like
it's
my
gross.
mom, I remember being a teenager and we, both of us grew up in the church, right? The extent to which we were acculturated into that society might be a little bit different, but we were both up in there, right?
Yep.
And so I remember I remember going on a youth retreat. And back in those days, we had a Suburban. And I was trying to make room for somebody, and I pulled out something of mine to put something of theirs in, and I was going to go try to find another space for something of mine. And my mom was like, you don't ever put yourself out to accommodate somebody else, right? It's like, if there isn't room in the vehicle for their stuff, then they need to find another space for it to be. But you don't take your stuff out of your vehicle to accommodate somebody else. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening here. It's like, we're taking our tax dollars out of our country to support a genocide, and the people who are experiencing real life natural disasters don't have access to anything.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that most of this is going to fall under flooding and not be covered in homeowners insurance. Because, again, who thinks if you're not in a floodplain and you're not living on the coast, you're not required to get flood insurance. Let me tell you what went on my to-do list this week, investigating that. Now, again, can we afford it? I have no idea what it would be.
Right.
But if it's a nominal little add-on, you better believe I'm adding it.
Yeah.
And, I in no way am I trying to say, I'm smarter than these people for anticipating this. In no way. How 300 miles in from the coast would you think this would be, ground zero for
something
this?
that you have to deal with
The stories are heartbreaking.
And also, how would you think that no one would show up? Except we have a pattern. Our government has a pattern of doing this, of not showing up. Look at Hawaii, Lahaina. Those people are still displaced. Mm-hmm. Right? It was the same kind of thing. They got that one shit that one time.
Well, and I don't know that our government isn't showing up. I saw a slide this morning about all the Republican and Democratic governors of these states that are impacted thanking the federal response. I don't know, but I am. You know what I do know? If I was a family or an individual who had lost everything, whatever it was wouldn't be enough.
Right.
Right. So I just want to
Yes.
say, like, that feeling of it's not enough is very valid and real amidst all this destruction. And that's not to say that our government isn't doing anything. I don't know. I just am
Yeah,
not in a
I'm not
place to
saying they're
sit.
not doing anything, but I
But
would
I bet we could
say
put that 8 billion to use over here, couldn't we?
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And then
Right.
also to knowing what I know about Appalachia, this is an area that has experienced some back-to-back devastations and opioid crisis and disinvestment from jobs leaving and woof. I mean, how
Yeah.
do you rebuild this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's breaking my heart and hearing all the human interest stories that relate to this, the people, the
Yeah.
individual stories of a 75-year-old, I heard on the New York Times Daily, a 75-year-old man clinging to a tree for hours.
Oh
And
my
the
God.
rescue comes, but they can't put a raft into these raging
Right.
waters.
Right.
Just wild stuff. Wild
Just
stuff.
wild stuff.
But climate change is real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. We're living through it. We're seeing it. 300 miles in from the coast is
Mhm.
flooded.
Suddenly you are potentially a climate refugee.
Yeah.
So as we think about how we treat people who need to come to this country, who need for relief and relief from oppression, relief from climate disasters, whatever, yet for the grace of God go I, right? This
Yeah.
can happen
Yes.
anywhere to anyone. We thought
Yes.
democracy was a sure thing. Look at who's challenging for office right now and what he says he
Yeah.
would do.
Yeah.
We could be political refugees in a moment.
Yeah.
We are
Or we could be
humans together.
refugees because someone comes and bombs us because we're providing bombs that are bombing other people.
Mm-hmm. We're angering a good bit of the world, aren't we?
Yeah.
With some
Yeah. We really,
capability.
with some capability.
Because we need that APEC money for our
Yes. Our
re-election.
whatever. Our
Give me a
whatever.
fucking break.
Right. I was like looking, because I'm in that DMV area, and I was like watching those huge planes fly low
Wow.
over. I'm like, that is a weapons transfer.
Holy shit. Wow.
And you're seeing more and more of them.
I also want to take a moment and say, I do not equate Judaism with the state of Israel.
And Zionism.
I do not
Correct.
equate every Israeli citizen with being in lockstep with Netanyahu. I just want to, again, there needs to be
And
nuance
I
in every
also
conversation.
do not equate people who are naming the genocide and who are for liberation to be anti-Semitic
Or terrorists or any of this.
terrorists
Yep.
or any of that.
Agree.
Yeah.
Because there are people on all sides that are advocating for the right thing.
Yes. Yeah. Meanwhile, the mayor of New York has been indicted. Diddy has been indicted.
Costco. Who knew Costco was going to come up in the news that way?
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, Diddy's parties, they would get skids of baby oil from Costco.
Oh. I know. I heard that there were like basically pallets of baby oil. But did you hear one of the reasons they had them?
I don't want to know. Do I want to know?
No, I don't think you want.
Costco's like, get our name off
Get
of
our
this.
name off of this.
Discontinue all baby oil from
And
here on
the
out.
list of people who are getting intermingled and being named and like it is like holy macaronis.
What y'all be doing in your free time?
Yeah, but also it's like this is a really like a distraction. Like, come on. This is
know.
just there's so many other important things, and this is showing up so much in every space, right? Like there are so many feeds you can find something on.
Yeah, I'm not paying attention to that apparently. It's not
Yeah.
bombarding me, and I think I officially, after this conversation, know all I need to know.
Yes, you do.
I'm good. I can turn that off, turn that chapter.
Yes. Because yeah, it's like people who I follow on social are now being like named, right?
Shit.
So it's like because I follow some of those people, it's showing up in my feed because it's like hashtagging their names and stuff.
Oops.
Yeah.
Speaking of in my feed, I got the cold open of Saturday Night Live this week with Maya Rudolph playing Kamala, with Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, playing Tim Walz. He was more Tim Walz than Tim Walz.
That's hilarious.
Oh God, it was fantastic. Andy Samberg as Doug Emhoff. My favorite line of the whole thing was Kamala said, "It's not." And of course, Maya does everything about the inflection and the hand motions perfectly, which I cannot do. But she says, it's like I tell Doug when he leaves his glasses at the Chili's. We are not going back. It was so funny. It was so funny.
That's great.
Yeah, and then there was the concept of the cold open was the Trump rally and the Kamala rallies and contrasting them. And then so at the Trump rally, you see him speaking behind bulletproof glass. Then they introduce JD Vance and they move the bulletproof glass.
Yeah, it's okay if you're good.
You know, he really wasn't a great pick after all. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to say anybody should hurt anyone, but oh lordy. Okay, so yeah, I think we could find that budget shortfall real quick, couldn't we, for FEMA?
I feel like it.
I mean, it's not hard. If I go through with a highlighter,
Yeah.
bam, ooh,
Bam. Ooh, there it is.
take
So weird.
this.
So weird.
It's like $8 billion. It's just a random
Mhm.
number, and we just happened to find
And
it.
we just happen to be spending it here and not have it here.
So take a little X, draw a line, a little arrow over here, and let me just initial that for you.
Just right.
Okay.
Approved.
10/4/24 finished.
Right.
Done.
Updated budget. Approved.
We fixed it.
Yeah.
We fixed it.
Yeah.
Ah,
And the death tolls are just rising.
I know.
It's just like every day.
and the thought of
every
people
day.
missing in this context where you don't have cell service and you don't have food and you don't have
Or the thought of your cell being the bomb.
yeah. Making the connection in case people don't know, Israel planning a long-term planning on this attack to distribute pagers and phones that would turn into explosive devices, killing, I think it
Hundreds
was
of people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Often
Or
in
injuring
in
hundreds.
civilian situations.
High civilian dense populations or areas. Mm-hmm.
So okay, so let's take that. If Israel has that kind of capability for going after its enemies,
Why
its
are we dropping
its enemies
bunker
is
bombs?
loosely, right? We'll say its enemies. Like, I don't know that they really got everybody they intended to get, and instead a lot of other children died, which is still pretty goddamn terrible, but this is on brand. If we can do that, why are we indiscriminately dropping bombs on schools, on hospitals, on refugee camps?
Yeah. On places of worship.
Churches,
Mosques, universities,
schools, and orphanages.
What do you call, like, the UN has, like, the places where they're organizing food and
Like a relief area. Yeah,
yeah,
World
like
Central
relief areas.
Kitchen.
Yeah, relief
World
spaces.
Central Kitchen.
It's like more, everybody has died in this conflict than any other conflict ever. Like more doctors, more journalists, more aid workers.
And what does that do to a society when you kill off all of one type of people? Our communities
Right.
need all kinds of professions
Yeah.
to survive.
And when you destroy all the infrastructure, like literally, you just are making these spaces completely unlivable.
yeah. Not with
It's just it's like it has been too much for 11 months.
agree.
It's just too much.
And the red line keeps moving. It's such a joke.
there isn't one. There is not one. There is just no
there had
line.
been
There
talk
is
of a red
nothing.
line. No
Right.
more.
There isn't one because, like, there is a ground offensive moving into a sovereign nation,
Lebanon.
and we are okay with that. And we're condemning Iran.
Yeah.
What's happening here? If that was Russia or China doing that, we would just
Lost our fucking minds.
lost our
Heck,
fucking
it
minds.
is Russia doing that.
Yes, and we are. So we have the juxtaposition. I think that's the other part that's actually
Yes.
mind-boggling.
Yes.
Is like we literally have these two narratives happening simultaneously.
This is our policy. No, this is our policy. This is our
Mhm.
no, not over here. Look over here. Bird,
Mhm.
squirrel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to have them investigate that. I'm not really aware of that happening. We're going to have them look into it.
I like that theme to carry forward. Juxtapositions. We've
Mhm.
got foreign policy with no coherent theme
No.
other than just whatever our interests are and murder,
Yep.
right? And then at the same time, juxtapositions on our ticket. I'm not saying any one person has all the answers. I am not thrilled with the positions of either candidate to 100%. But let me tell you something. Voting is like mass transit. You get as close as you want to go. And my choice is clear. But we've got a black woman who is a black Asian American woman who is accomplished out the wazoo, who is qualified up and down this ticket, and a really good, decent human being as her vice president. And then we've got somebody with 34 felonies so far who tried to overthrow democracy,
Who's a
who's
rapist?
a rapist, And he picks this smooth talking guy who used to call him Hitler a year ago. That's our juxtaposition. I saw a meme and it was people from other countries looking at the American election saying it's
Like,
like
what the fuck is going
49%,
on here?
49%, 1% undecided or whatever, or 2% undecided. And the choice is like a puppy for everyone or eternal diarrhea. Why are we tied? Look at this
Right.
juxtaposition.
Yeah.
How can
Mhm.
this be?
Mhm.
How can
Mhm.
this literally on 538.com looking at the stats and running models, how can it be that there is literally an equal chance either
Because
one will
some
win?
people hate puppies that much.
Well, I'll take your puppy.
Yeah,
I'll
but
raise the
no.
puppy for you.
I don't know. I think all the puppies should be dead, and so I would rather choose diarrhea, and so all the puppies will be dead.
Because I'm a cat person.
Yeah,
What the
right,
fuck?
right.
Quick reminder, early voting is happening in many, many, many states, all but I think 5. I'll have to look up what I researched. I don't know that you're in the early voting window for every state, but I'm pretty sure we're getting there. We're 5 weeks out at the
Yeah,
time
look
of
at
this
it.
recording. I have already voted. I can't tell you. Now, mind you, my vote is not enough. I need to put some work in as well, and I plan to. But I can't tell you the deep breath of relief for me, just knowing that my vote was in and was counted. It was
Yeah.
huge. Because I always worry, what if I get COVID? What if something happens that would keep me from going on election day? Now, I don't think much could keep me, but God forbid, right? You're in a car accident, whatever. So I just wanted to get it done and know that it was finished.
Yeah.
So it's finished.
Yeah. Maryland is in a early voting window.
Yep. Most are. So find out, look up your jurisdiction and find out, Google you the name of your county or city plus early voting. You will find locations, you will find times, all of that. Oh my gosh, my dog is dreaming under the desk really loudly.
That's so funny.
Oh,
It must be good.
Must be good. She's dreaming of early voting.
Right.
Okay, early voting. We need to fix the budget and slide that 8 bill right on over to Appalachia and everybody else.
Mhm.
The Georgia shooting at a school, first week back after Labor Day. That's how you know what season it is in America. School's back in session. Go pick your pumpkins and get a bulletproof vest for your kiddo.
And so
What the
many
hell?
police departments are out here just like, yeah, over the summer we were training in schools. I'm like, is this really what we are doing? That we would rather perpetuate all this trauma and harm
On our children.
on our children.
My children who have another lockdown drill today. Just, second, third of the year.
It was happening up here too.
Mhm.
Not in the school where my children attend, but in the middle school nearby that my nephew goes to, and my nanny's son goes to. And there were some days they just kept him home from school because it was happening every day. There was like a week that it was like happening every day.
There was a lot of
couple weeks
copycats
ago.
and internet threats following that
Yeah,
Georgia shooting. We
exactly.
had it too. It was terrifying. And I actually I love our school district dearly. It's very, while the school board is a hot mess of crazies, I am very, very grateful for the staff that provide steady leadership there. And I actually met with them and said, hey, in terms of communications for parent stress and kid stress, like here are some things that maybe you do a little differently. And they were super receptive. It was a great conversation. But, a question about gun safety, especially in schools, was completely missing from the presidential debate.
Yep.
That was a journalist's choice. That was not the campaign's fault, but either campaign's fault for that matter. It's rare that I'd give a pass to Trump, but here we go, right? But it was brought up in the presidential debate. I'm sorry, the vice presidential debate, October 1st. And
here's the thing, Laura.
What?
Here's how I feel for real, on the real tip. It's like
On the real tip?
On the real tip.
Is that a phrase I need to know?
Yeah. It could be done. We're supposedly in there right now. Right? So like in office, like what is there to debate? We are in office right now. The Democrats could be advancing legislation, could be signing executive orders around this thing. So it's like,
we don't have the
why
House.
aren't we?
We don't have the House.
We don't have the House, but it's like there is executive action. Remember? Well, the Supreme Court said that the president could do whatever they want. Remember that?
No, I mean, that's about immunity of crime. That's not saying that they have absolute authority to do whatever they want legislatively. This, I don't know. I don't know if an executive order would fix this. I don't know. I'm not opposed to trying. I'm sure as
That's
hell
all
not
I'm
opposed to
saying.
trying. But I
That's all I'm
know that a
saying.
party that wears AR-15 buttons in their holiday cards and they're all packing heat and they keep sabotaging these bills over and over again,
But that's my point. It's like, why aren't we trying something more
pushing and
drastic?
pushing and pushing.
That's
I'm
all I'm
pretty sure it's
saying.
tabled. I'm pretty sure it's there. I don't know. I'm not saying, but okay, so vote accordingly. Which party is talking about this in a way that sits well with your spirit as a parent?
Nobody, because it should be done. Nobody gives a shit about our kids. This has been going on for far too long. There's been
I agree, it's
Democrats
far
in
too
office,
long.
Republicans in office, Democrats in office, Republicans in office. This has been going on since we were kids.
I know. I know.
So, like, nobody gives a shit.
Oh, and again, I'm not giving a free pass to Democrats on this. There could be more done, for sure.
We have had the House. Like, it's like we have been through cycles where we could have done this, but we didn't.
Mm.
That's all I'm saying. So it's like the gun debate, I feel like, is another just distraction, because it's one of those things that nobody actually gives a shit about because it's about money. If people really wanted to do something about it, it's the same argument every time. It's like, we just need common sense gun legislation. They've been saying that for 15 years. There have been opportunities to do it, and we have not taken advantage of those opportunities when we have had the power.
I hear
do
you.
it.
I do have to push back. There was the ban on assault weapons for years and years and years, and then it was overturned. So
Yes.
there was improvement. To say that people haven't done anything, I don't think is right.
But when was the ban on assault weapons?
I need to look it up. I need to Google.
It was earlier. It was like in
Early 2000s, early aughts, maybe.
I think. Here.
I say this to say, I plan on holding my legislators accountable, whoever we put in office. But when the answers you get from what's his face,
It was 94 to 2004.
there you go.
That was
the early
20
aughts.
years ago. 20 years ago.
But when Walz says, let's just get better locks on the doors, and Tim Walz actually admits that it's the guns, to me, I have to vote that way. I have to vote that way. And then hold them accountable, to your point, to do more.
I think of it as a non-issue is what I'm saying.
I can't go there. I can't be that cynical. I can't.
It's like,
I can't wake up every day and send my kids to school if I felt that way. It's not a non-issue for me.
What choice do you have? I'm saying to them that it's all lip service, and that it's one of those things that, like, it doesn't matter what they say because they're not actually going to do anything about it. That's how I feel. Like, they could say all. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by a non-issue. It's like, if it was a priority, it would have been addressed. If our children mattered, it would be resolved. But instead, we're building cop cities, and we're policing, and we're trying to we're training police to do active shooter drills. We're traumatizing our children over and over and over again. We have our children pulling bodies into their classrooms. We're having our children experience this over generation after generation. Like, if it was a priority, it would have been handled.
I don't disagree.
And it's not.
I don't disagree that
I think it's still
more could
not.
have been done. I just know that this is something that galvanizes especially suburban women. I hope it's enough. Because we're all sending our kids to school. It's fucking terrifying.
But we've all been sending our kids to school for 20 years is my point. That's my point.
I don't disagree with you that it's gone on too long. There is no question. There is no question that I wish there was more political will across everywhere to do more. But to say that we just have to accept it because they're not going to do anything is not something I can live with. That's where I am.
I hear you.
I know. And I hear you too.
Like, it's just like, I have no energy in that part of the debate because it's like they're not going to actually do anything. I'd rather focus on other things that they're talking about that show me who they are, because they've already shown me many times who they are in this respect. So it's like, for me, the debates in general just felt like performance.
They absolutely are performance.
They're
not the best way to get a sense of, because you can lie and there's minimal. JD Vance said, I thought you weren't going to fact check me. He said the quiet part out loud. Now, I'm not saying that every debate performance on the other side is perfect either, but it is designed to be a TV event for ratings.
It's just theater. Yeah. So
That's
it's
right.
like, I don't care.
I know. Here I am biting my nails off.
It's just theater. because I want to just see what you're actually going to do. And you're showing me what you're going to do,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know? So anyway,
Where do we wanna pivot next as we round out our time?
you know, I want to say that I think that this is a time in the world where I don't know. I don't know if I feel like we're still too focused on the narrow and not thinking enough about the whole,
You're always
right?
my
Like,
big picture person. I'm your details girl. Tell me what you're thinking.
mhm,
What are you seeing that we're
like
not seeing?
how all these things that are happening are interrelated,
Mhm.
right? They're connected. And so it's like if someone is shipping billions of dollars of weapons to kill children over there, why do we think that anybody cares about children over here?
Mm.
If we're allowing corporations to not have any consequences for child labor, horrendous
In
conditions
Sudan and the Congo.
in Sudan, in the Congo, then why would we expect that those same people who are legislating here would have that concern about the children that are here? If we are willing to continue to maintain like the confusion and imbalance and fund these like rebel groups to keep countries destabilized so that we can continue to
Have influence, have our
exploit
way, yes.
exploit their resources, then like why do we think that it is happening here? We're exploiting we have a prison system that exploits black and brown people primarily, right? Like we have all these institutions in these United States that are mirroring and mimicking the stuff that we're seeing out there because it's the same behaviors. And so it's always interesting to me to hear the way in which if it's not like if someone doesn't know enough about it or it's not impacting them directly, then it's like a non-issue. But like it's like we're just next. And that's how I see it. It's like
Mm.
if we've already bombed our own country, right? A
Mhm.
black town in Philly. We have
Oklahoma,
drowned and
Tulsa
burned
Race
out
Massacre.
and beyond that, like Rosewood, like there's
Sure.
lists and lists and lists. Central Park used to be a black town. Dulles Airport used to be a black town, right? Like we've been doing this to people here forever. And so, like, the idea that America is better than that, to me, all of this stuff that's happening, it's like, this is America. All the things that are happening globally.
Mhm.
It's like, this is America.
This is a manifestation of colonialism and white supremacy in around the world and our dominance around the world. If you can't, I know this is an audio medium, but Corey is very
Yes.
vehemently shaking her head
Yes.
vertically in a direction that
Yes.
means we agree.
Affirmation and
I'm a
agreement.
little worried
Yeah.
about her neck, actually.
Yeah. I mean, like, why was Puerto Rico never made a state? Not that they want to be one, right? But like, we exploit that land and that property. We have full benefits
Without
from,
the responsibility and letting them vote.
yeah, right? Like that kind of stuff. We're living it. It's happening. So like, I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a pulling out of not just self and the things that are only impacting me. Like the Black women mortality rate has been an issue forever, but now it's so much more prominent because of the Roe v. Wade thing that's impacting white women so much more,
Mhm. That's why it's getting the
right?
spotlight and you're
That's
seeing
why
it.
it's getting it's
Mhm.
way more attention than it had been. But it's been an issue in our community literally forever. The current practices of current gynecological practices were stolen and then practiced on Black women without
Henrietta
their
Lacks,
consent or
yep. Mhm.
permission.
Yep, yep, yep.
So it's like to me, it's like these atrocities that we're seeing all over the globe are here. But if you're not choosing to see it, you don't.
Mhm.
And many people don't choose to see it until something related to their personal experience is at stake.
So
But
we're
when all these Black women and Black babies were dying, nothing. When there was a war on drugs when it was Black folks using drugs. It's a health crisis
Mhm.
when white folks are using drugs. Right? It's a
Mhm.
national emergency.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like that piece, it's like these are the same examples of the kinds of desperate ways that we
Mhm.
view people on a global scale.
So it's a call maybe to look for the juxtaposition. The way we treat one versus our policy here, our policy here. What we
Yeah.
care about here, what we say we care about here.
And the same, and yes, it's like just how we're seeing the different perspective on how Russia is
And
treating Ukraine
Ukraine and
and
Israel and
Israel
Lebanon.
and Lebanon and Syria and Gaza, right? Same kinds of behaviors, different kind of narrative and response from our government, right?
Mhm. Or different behaviors, or sometimes different behaviors, to your point about
Yeah.
action and inaction, right? Or
Yeah, but
outrage versus
I'm saying like Israel and Russia are exhibiting the same
yes,
behaviors,
yes,
right?
yes.
And but
I thought you meant our
our
behaviors are
government
the same, sorry.
no, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
like
right.
they're exhibiting the same kind of behaviors, but our response to those behaviors are extremely different,
Mhm.
right? Black women have been dying, babies have been dying for decades.
And mothers,
And
yeah,
mothers, yeah,
yeah.
women, mothers, right? But it's like now that this is impacting white women more significantly with these abortion bans, now there's a different response.
Mhm. So it's a call for us to look inward and look at the juxtaposition.
And also try to just see how when people are sharing their experiences, that like it should matter to you even if it doesn't directly impact
Even if
you.
their skin color is
Because
different, their race is
yeah,
different, their
because at some
religion
point
is different, we're
this is
tied
what I was
together.
saying
Yep,
is we're next. There's always the thing that's we're next.
yep.
So it's like no one was paying attention to that's why I started with the Black women's maternity
Mortality.
mortality rate,
Mhm,
right? Because it's like now you were next, white ladies.
mhm.
Now like everybody's having this experience in certain states. But we could have been advocating and fighting for this all more intentionally,
All along.
pointing to the data about what Black women were experiencing, but we weren't.
Mhm, mhm. Yes.
And now you're next. Now you're on the chopping block.
And
Now
people are
your rights have
surprised by that. I think that's the thing is whenever when something is done against a people group, whatever it is by whomever, we are tied. Our futures are tied.
yeah.
And so, whatever the it is it, removal of rights? Is it, harm done to bodies, bombs being dropped on them,
And if we're allowing it
disenfranchisement
for some one people group, then we're giving permission for
for
it
it
to
to be
happen to any people
weaponized
group
against any,
against anybody.
including our own?
Exactly. And that's the point. That's what I'm getting at,
Yes.
right? It's like we have to have that sense of collection, of being a collective, that if we can stamp this as being acceptable
Anyone, then it's acceptable for everyone
for everyone.
or anyone.
Yeah. And we are anyone,
Mhm.
right? We're part of that anyone, everyone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's the piece. I wish more people could kind of just pull out and feel and see that like what's happening to them is happening to me.
Yeah, it's the canary in the coal mine, right? This should be a very clear and dangerous signal to you.
Yes.
What's our call to action today apart from this like
I think it's like find your collective. Like, there are things that
cuz this is really easy to get completely shut down over, by the way.
is it?
Yeah. And I'm not faulting you. Forgive me for interrupting you. It's really easy to say this shit is going down everywhere and we are just humanity is fucked. Like it's really easy to park a car in that parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like the thing that's weird is I mean, maybe I sound cynical, but I'm actually really hopeful.
Say more on
Like
that for the love.
because like I have hope in humans and people, right? But the truth of what's happening is the truth. And so if saying it makes me cynical, then that's like, sure. But the reality for me is that in being able to be in conversation with people about it, in being able to see how people are mobilizing around particular issues and supporting one another, in being able to see how messages are being elevated and shared, and to see that there is energy, outrage, sadness, fear, pain, angst, right? That people are feeling stuff is actually hopeful,
Yes.
because the thing that makes me feel stuck is when you look around and you see that everyone's just accepting
Mm.
what it is.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
No emotional reaction, no
no,
mention.
right. And so it's like, I need to see the compassion movement to take more flight,
Hmm.
the empathy movement to take more flight, right? It's like those babies in that rubble are our babies,
Yes.
right? Those families are our families. Those are our friends. Those are our people, because we all belong to each other.
Hmm.
And there is such a tiny group of people who are orchestrating,
And
manipulating,
profiting from.
influencing, and profiting from our lack of connectedness,
Mm.
right? That lack of compassion for people over there. I've been noticing, and we've been watching some like older movies, and the things that I've been noticing in these movies are anti-Arab sentiment,
Hmm.
misogyny at extremely, in sexism in
Yep.
like very high levels, and racism, right? Racist tropes
Outright.
just like embedded, just
Hmm.
out there, so evident. And then you wonder how people's mindsets
Have been
are
shaped over these times.
shaped over
Yeah.
time. And you're looking at these TV shows and these movies from the 80s and the 90s that we grew up on, and you're like, dang, it's so obvious now, but it was not obvious to
That's
me
right.
then.
This didn't age well. Yeah. Uh-huh. It's funny you say that. I'm curious what you've been watching. We watched A League of Their Own with the kiddos recently,
Mm,
which again, like, has its redeeming. What I'm doing with these things is we pause the movies and we talk about it. What do you,
yeah.
or I'll say on the front end, hey, listen, I want you to be looking for
Hmm.
evidence of X, Y, and Z. And then when you see
Some
it,
of them we've just turned off,
yep. I said, yeah.
right?
I'll say,
Because
tell
my
me,
kids are
we'll
smaller.
pause it and let's talk about
Yeah.
it. Flag me, say,
Yeah.
mom, pause it, and then we'll bring it up. And it's almost like it's not a game, but it's like
It's like trying to find the Easter egg, right?
yeah, that's right. Like a
Finding their
Where's
run. It's just
Waldo in
like,
the movie.
yeah, noticing. It's
Yeah.
you're helping them to notice.
Yes.
You are exercising their muscle of noticing that kind of stuff. So if they
Disrupting.
can recognize it in the movies where it's designed to be subtle, and then they'll recognize it in real life where it is also subtle,
Yes. Yes.
right? Except for when it's blatant. Like Back to the Future, Biff, he's Trump.
Mm.
Nothing redeeming about him
Hmm.
in any of those movies.
Hmm.
Nothing redeeming about him at all. He is a rapist, right? He's
I don't
trying
know
to
the movie
assault.
well enough, but I'll trust you. I
So
believe you.
I'll just say, yeah. So Michael J. Fox is the main character,
Yep.
right? And Biff is like this, he's just a bully. He tries to assault Lorraine in every single movie. Lorraine is Michael J. Fox's mom.
Okay.
And Biff is like her peer. They went to high school
Got
together.
it. Okay. That's what I was missing was the character
Yeah.
name. I know the
Yeah,
general
yeah.
plot.
Yeah. And then what is Michael J. Fox's? McFly, Marty
Mm-hmm. Marty
McFly.
McFly.
And then George McFly is Marty's dad,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so George McFly is a peeping Tom.
Ugh. You're like,
Biff
boys,
is a bull.
don't look at this.
Biff, yeah, like this is boys will be boys behavior, right? Biff is a bully, and he tries to, in every single movie, he is abusive toward Lorraine. Every movie, he tries to sexually assault her.
Mm.
In multiple movies,
Ugh.
he hits her, like physically assaults her in movies. And then she's like just the alcoholic who's just drinking away all of her pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. And that was huge in pop culture for us as
Huge
part
in
of
pop
her.
culture. But it's Trump,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's revered and loved on and treated with respect and feared in a lot of ways. But like he gets to continue to exist.
Mm-hmm.
He never has anything redeeming about him.
Yeah.
The only thing is like in one timeline, he like ends up being the helper, right? He ends up working for George McFly because George McFly stands up to him in this one timeline in high school. but he's still a bully,
Mm.
even when he is in this more reserved kind of role.
Subordinate
His
role. Yeah, he's still who he is.
he's still who he is.
Linda, my mentor, always says, if I can't feel good about any character in a show or a movie, it's going off.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a good litmus test for this.
Mm-hmm.
So noted. This is going to come off our family must watch list, like in terms of going back in the archives.
Yeah, I mean, but it or not, because it speaks to so many
Yeah.
things, right? It's like
Or we use it with the
but
watching and noticing and disrupting.
yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Thank you. Oof.
I love
I
you.
love you too.
Like I said, I am actually hopeful, right? Because I get to talk to people like you. Like I've been in conversation with my own parents, with people in my community, watching people using cooking, love, support for one another to find solidarity through all kinds of atrocity, dancing as a form of hope, speaking and singing as a form of hope, right? Like as a form of resistance
Joy
to
is resistance.
oppression,
Yes.
joy as resistance, even in the darkest hour. And so that makes me hopeful, but I need there just to be more mobilization and movement into compassion, because the more people who can feel empathic and compassionate toward those who are being harmed, the more you're going to feel moved to do something.
I get these. This is a little bit of a pivot, but I promise I'm tying this up with the same idea.
I'm with you.
Bank of America every once in a while sends me these surveys as a customer, and they wanted the survey I did yesterday was about. I get it for Amazon points because need my stuff.
Need your stuff.
Not that I love Bezos, but the theme of this survey was on parenting and the expectations in society. And so many of the questions were framed negatively, like parents don't, which of these do you agree with? Parents don't discipline their kids, da 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 da. Or what were the priorities? What are the priorities? If you had to pick 5 in this long list, what do you believe parenting should be or is now in society? And how is that different than years ago? And so to your point about hopefulness, I see my friends and people in my community talking about, you know what, your feelings are valid.
Yes.
Or what can we do? What's a way we can show kindness to this family that just experienced something tragic? Or like I'm seeing that. And to that point, I do feel more hopeful about our children's generation than certainly than our parents.
Yeah. But it's like, but we need to translate that hope into action,
Yes.
right? Because that's how people felt about Gen X people, right? Like their parents were the adults, or no, their parents were the kids in the integration period, right? Who were screaming at Black kids as they were integrating schools. And they came through like in their youth in a more connected way to people of different backgrounds and blah, blah, blah. But as they continue to get older, that divergence happened, right? And the status quo was maintained because the status quo is easy. It's comfortable.
So we need to continue to build kids' empathy muscles, which I think we're doing a good job of doing, and then think about how to leverage that towards future change.
Yes.
There you go. We got there.
That's it. There it is.
Ding.
There it is. Right.
It's like the old turkey timer in the oven.
But also in the process, do it ourselves, right? It's like, don't wait for them.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. Do it together.
Do it together.
That's what I want my legacy to be with them, for sure.
Yeah. We got there. We did.
We did. Just took us an hour.
Right. Well, we haven't talked in a while, so come on.
We're flexing our muscles back again.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Right.
I love you.
Well, it was wonderful talking with you, as usual.
I miss Keith. I hope he feels better.
I hope he feels better.
We want to send him some soup. He's not feeling so hot today. We might do some DoorDash later, whether he likes it or not. And
thank you for listening. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, talk about what matters, make the world more just.
I'm Corey.
I'm Laura.
I'll talk to you again soon.
Take care.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Pushing Past Polite. We encourage you to go deeper in your trusted spaces and find new space for good conversation.
You'll find episodes, transcripts, and lots of other goodies at our website, pushingpastpolitepodcast.com. You can also connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Pushing Past Polite.
Pushing Past Polite is an independent podcast with Corey and Laura from Just Educators.
Our cover art was designed by Rachel Welsh DeEga of DeEga Designs, and our audio is produced by Keith at Headset Media. Until next time, don't get stuck talking about the weather. Push past polite.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Jay, you did perfect.